Imagine growing up dirt poor in a world where strength is everything. Your family's barely scraping by, and you're stuck wondering if life will ever give you a break. Then one day, bam! A system awakens, and suddenly, you're a beast tamer. Sounds like a dream, right? Except your first beast is a tiny, scrawny turtle. Not exactly the stuff of legends. But here's where it gets wild. This turtle? It can evolve, and not just a little. Feed it enough, and it grows into a god-slaying powerhouse, that's right. Just by eating, it becomes a force so unstoppable that even the strongest tremble. So how far can this guy and his overpowered turtle go? On the night of May 20th, 2024, a rift began to appear in the sky over Jang Joo City. As the rift expanded, lightning struck, and the 3rd Division, a group of people with special powers, was summoned to advance. They moved to defend the city from the monsters emerging from the spatial rift. Wolves, as large as cars and trucks. A giant wolf knocked one of the women in the group to the ground. Drooling, it snarled that eradicating these inferior humans, who still resisted, was only a matter of time. The giant wolf was a 6-eared wolf king, a gold-level monster. The 6-eared wolf left the woman behind and charged at the other humans, its claws and fangs swift as it attacked everyone in its path. A blue-haired woman was stunned to see the wolf's level, questioning whether this portal was of a higher rank than they had predicted. The giant wolf approached her with blood-stained claws, warning that it was now too late for her to uncover the truth. Just as the wolf was about to strike, a powerful force descended between them. Someone stepped in, declaring, "I'll handle the monster. You focus on the others." The woman, along with the rest of the humans, recognized the intervener, Lord Wen Yuan. With him present, their chances of success increased significantly. From that moment on, the battle unfolded smoothly. After the battle, the blue-haired woman returned to the office to report what had happened. Thanks to Wen Yuan's help, the group had successfully defended against the invasion of the 6-eared wolf clan. The man sitting at the desk praised their good work, but expressed concern over the report of a new rift. This time, Level C. This was already the 6th in the last decade. He was worried because at this rate, it would eventually become impossible to defend Yangzhou. The man stood up, stating that this was an issue they could no longer manage at the academy. Therefore, starting that year, superhumans from Marshall University would be exempt from cultural exams, and the admission score requirement would be cut in half. Meanwhile, in a classroom, students attended their lessons. One student asked his friend why he wasn't paying attention, pointing out that it would be embarrassing if they couldn't get into Marshall University because of low grades in cultural arts. The distracted friend retorted, "Aren't you doing the same thing?" before admitting he just wanted to sit near the beautiful Yanran. Hearing about Yanran, the first student showed envy towards Subai, who was seated close to the young woman. The girl they mentioned, Lin Yanran, a peach-haired beauty, tucked her hair behind her ear and asked Subai, "Do you plan to go to the academy or Marshall University? Graduation is approaching." Subai, his face buried in a book, replied, "I don't know." Raising his head, he explained that his grades were just average, questioning the need to study foreign languages and advanced mathematics in these chaotic times. He added that he couldn't attend Marshall University. His family wasn't wealthy enough for supplements, nor did he have any special abilities. What should I do? He wondered, starting to doubt whether he had truly made any progress. Yanran approached him, whispering, "Join the academy with me. I have a way to get you admitted directly." Subai suddenly jumped, not because of her, but because a window had appeared in the air out of nowhere. It displayed his stats and his beast tamer class. "Why is this only showing up now?" he thought, examining it closely. "Is this my system?" Seeing Subai staring into nothingness, Yanran asked, "Is something wrong? You're sweating." She reached toward him, her hand passing through the stats window, proving she couldn't see it. Subai surprised her by grabbing her hand and assuring her he was fine. The other students gasped, crying out in envy. "Release our goddess's hand!" one shouted. Another, furious, was ready to attack Subai, until a teacher entered and ordered everyone to sit down. The teacher walked to the board and announced, "I have great news. Marshall University of Zhangzhou has just published an announcement. Starting this year, superhumans will be exempt from cultural exams and can enroll directly. Students with martial artist physiques will also have their cultural course score requirements halved." The news stunned the class. Some cheered. This was excellent for those with poor grades, while others jealously muttered about superhumans. The teacher added, "Anyone who has awakened abilities or possesses a martial foundation may visit my office to register." Subai found this intriguing. He had just awakened his abilities minutes earlier, and now he could enter Marshall University without exams. Yanran, noticing his deep thought, asked, Are you planning to attend the university? As they left school, Subai reflected on his situation. He had been in this world for 17 years. Over a century ago, in September 1906, the sky had suddenly split open, revealing massive spatial rifts. Enormous, crazed beasts invaded, wreaking havoc and destruction. Armies from all nations battled these creatures. 3 months later, they finally managed to eliminate them. However, as long as the rifts remained, new waves of monsters would periodically appear. Humans decided to send squads to investigate the rifts, and what they discovered on the other side was a vast, endless land. To prevent the beasts from continuing to invade through the rifts, military forces from various continents united and established military bases inside them. From there, they could deal with the beasts directly at their source. A new era for humanity had begun. On March 6th of the following year, the second rift appeared in the sky. On March 7th, the third rift emerged, followed by the fourth and fifth. Over the next 100 years, the number of rifts continued to increase at an accelerating pace. Now, the rifts were spread across the world, each connected to a specific race of beasts. Scientists named the battlefield beneath the rifts the battlefield of myriad races. As more rifts emerged, spiritual power on Earth began to recover, and humans gradually awakened martial powers and abilities. With the battles intensifying, conventional weapons repeatedly failed on the battlefield, while superhumans grew stronger. Eventually, they replaced firearms as the dominant force. The war between humans and the myriad races continues to this day. Subai realized that the decision made by Jang Joo Martial University reflected the increasing danger in the city. Since activating his system, Subai resolved that he must protect his family in this chaotic world. The fastest way to increase his strength would be to enroll in the martial university supported by the military. He headed to a monster shop, feeling fortunate to have awakened as a tamer. With this ability, all he needed to do was contract a beast to pass the exams without trouble. He checked his bank account and, seeing that he had 2,000 yuan, felt relieved that he had saved some money, which he could now use. Upon entering the monster shop, he remembered that the system would indicate if there was a compatible beast, but no notification had appeared so far. The clerk welcomed him, asking if she could assist. He revealed that he was a tamer and inquired about the beasts she had for sale. The first beast the woman showed him was a black cat. She explained that its high price of 36,000 yuan was due to its nether cat bloodline, which made it easily capable of evolving to the silver level. She also showed him a 4-eared dog priced at 33,000 yuan, stating that it had the bloodline of a 6-eared wolf. From there, the monsters she presented began costing double or triple the price of the first. She was about to ask Subai if any of the monsters had caught his eye, when suddenly, he walked away. Subai continued on his way, wondering if the woman was trying to scam him. Beasts shouldn't be so expensive just because of a bloodline. He also questioned what was happening with his system, as no beast seemed compatible with him. Arriving home, Subai tossed his bag onto the floor. After a few steps, a system window appeared before him, alerting him to the presence of a compatible monster nearby. A small turtle. Reading the information, Subai wondered if the system was referring to his father's pet turtle. He looked at the turtle, which was lying on its back, questioning if this was really his rookie reward. The turtle was so tiny that he couldn't imagine what use it might have. Regardless, Subai decided to tame it. He couldn't head to the battlefield without a beast, and he could always choose a better one in the future. A power descended upon the turtle, and it was tamed through Subai's system. He received detailed information about the small turtle, discovering that it possessed the bloodline traits of a sacred black turtle, granting it the potential to grow infinitely until it could defeat gods. The information about the turtle almost made Subai think he was losing his mind. Lifting the turtle up with excitement, he celebrated his discovery. At that moment, a woman appeared at the door, her red eyes fixed on Subai. It was Xiao Ba, Subai's sister, who immediately demanded he put down their father's treasured pet. The protagonist was about to explain that he hadn't done anything, but the turtle suddenly leapt from his hands and dived into a bag of food. Subai quickly tried to retrieve the turtle as his sister questioned why it was eating so much, considering their father had already fed it that morning. The protagonist realized that the turtle's appetite must have grown, leading him to wonder if it was on the verge of evolving. Because of this, he decided to give it even more food. About half an hour later, their parents returned home only to find a scene that left them horrified. Their house looked like it had been ransacked. Xiao Ba was running around trying to protect her last snacks, while the turtle chased her, ravenous. Their father questioned whether that speedy turtle was really his Xiao Ba, while their mother wondered aloud if a turtle could move that fast. Subai scratched his head awkwardly, saying he could explain. With the house in ruins, Subai's smile faded as he lowered his head. He knew his parents had already been through enough. It was better not to tell them that Xiao Ba's stomach seemed to be a bottomless pit. He resolved to figure out how to handle the situation on his own. The turtle, Xiao Ba, let out a loud burp, having finished off Su Xiaomei's remaining snacks. At that moment, the turtle released a massive burst of energy, projecting a hologram of a giant beast. The protagonist was stunned, wondering if the gluttonous turtle was finally full, and if its black turtle bloodline was about to erupt. Xiao Ba's eruption shadow vanished in an instant. The black turtle bloodline hadn't awakened. But the creature became even more restless, prompting Subai to head to a certain place. When the shop assistant saw Subai back at the beast store, she asked if he had finally decided what he wanted. However, he explained that he wasn't there to buy anything this time. Lowering his voice, he told the woman that he had the blood of an exotic beast and asked if she was interested in buying it. The woman was taken aback and exclaimed loudly, asking if he truly had exotic beast blood. Her voice caught the attention of a man seated at a nearby table. The man stood up and told the assistant to let him handle the matter. He was her boss. The man invited Subai to sit down and talk, asking if he could see the quality of the blood he claimed to have. Smelling the vial containing the blood, the man confirmed that it was indeed high-quality exotic beast blood. He turned to Subai and asked how much he wanted for it. Subai had struggled a lot to extract Xiao Ba's blood, so he had planned to ask for 100 yuan. But before Subai could state his price, the man offered him 1,000 yuan. Surprised, Subai stood up, asking if the man was really offering 1,000. The man smiled and said it was just a joke, then raised the offer to 10,000 yuan for the high-quality blood. Hearing the new price, Subai's eyes lit up. The man misinterpreted his reaction, thinking the young man believed the amount was too low. As a result, he raised the offer again to 15,000 yuan, adding that he couldn't go any higher than that. Subai's eyes sparkled with money signs. He hadn't imagined Xiao Ba's blood would be worth so much, and could barely suppress his grin. Accepting the offer, Subai pretended to be generous, saying that if he weren't in a rush, he wouldn't sell it for that price. As Subai left, the shop owner bid him farewell and asked him to return if he ever had more valuable goods to sell. Checking his bank account, Subai hadn't expected exotic beast blood to be so valuable. Selling it for 15,000 yuan would help Xiao Ba grow significantly. As he strolled through the streets, Subai received a call from Teacher Li. She informed him that the academic results were out and mentioned some important news. She asked him to come to the school that afternoon to fill out a form. However, as she spoke, the call began breaking up because Subai had walked into an alley. He tried asking Teacher Li what the important news was, but the poor signal disrupted the call. Suddenly, a notification appeared in front of Subai, startling him. It warned him that some individuals nearby harbored malicious intentions toward him. Turning around, Subai found himself face to face with a man holding a spiked club. The man was accompanied by two others, remarking that Subai must be quite valuable since the pet shop owner had shown him such a good attitude. Subai tried to avoid trouble, telling the man he had only gone to the store to sell something, not to buy. Cursing his bad luck, Subai kept his composure. As long as only one of the three was a primary warrior, he wouldn't need to be afraid. The man with the spiked club began to laugh, mocking Subai's seemingly cowardly demeanor, and ordered him to hand over the money. At that moment, Subai pulled out Xiao Ba, who had been hiding. "All right, I'll hand over everything now. Take this." He hurled the turtle at the bald man holding the club, catching him off guard. The thug used his club to shield himself from the turtle, his eyes widening in anger. But in the next moment, they widened even further, in pain. Like cracking an egg to make an omelet, Subai delivered a brutal kick to the thug's lower parts. The other two thugs were alarmed by what had happened to their boss. Gaining their courage, they charged at Subai. As he fled with the little turtle, Subai asked Xiao Ba if she was okay. After hitting the club, holding Xiao Ba, Subai used her as a weapon. Dodging one thug, he struck another with the turtle. He then fell onto the one he had just dodged, slamming the turtle shell into him and pinning him to the ground. At that moment, the bald man began to stand up again. Seeing this, Subai decided to use Xiao Ba as a projectile. He threw the turtle straight at the bald man's face, hitting him squarely. The thug fell to the ground, losing his gold tooth in the process. Having defeated all the thugs, Subai warned them that they'd brought this on themselves by provoking him. Suddenly, Subai noticed Xiao Ba was interested in something. The little turtle had grabbed a glowing potion and started drinking it. Subai ran toward her, asking what she had found. The potion bottle suddenly disappeared from the turtle's mouth. Holding the bottle, Subai realized it was a blood and chi potion. He was stunned, knowing such a potion was worth tens of thousands of yuan. He also drank some of it. Suddenly, Xiao Ba began to glow while straining herself. Concerned, Subai wondered if the turtle could digest the potion she had consumed. However, the next moment left him shocked. An energy surrounded him, and he felt himself growing stronger. Subai's stats window appeared before him. He was amazed to see the blood and chi potion had had a tremendous effect. His stats had significantly increased, and he had also gained a new talent. This talent allowed any beasts he tamed to evolve infinitely. Looking at Xiao Ba's stats, Subai was even more impressed. Her physique and defense had increased to 32 and 38, respectively. Additionally, her size had grown, and she now had an ability that boosted her defense by 300%. However, her bloodline had not yet been fully unlocked. Subai recalled learning in class that even powerful exotic beasts could only reach a maximum level of 30. Seeing how strong Xiao Ba already was, Subai wondered what would happen when her bloodline was fully activated. Picking up the turtle, he remarked that since she had eaten, they should move quickly now. Upon arriving at school, Subai learned that academic results had been released, and applications needed to be submitted that day. The teacher also explained to the class that the next day, an academy professor would visit for special admissions. He would conduct a skill test for the candidates. Yanran leaned over and whispered to Subai, asking if he had decided whether to apply to the Institute or Martial University. Contrary to her expectations, he said he would apply to Martial University. Surprised, she questioned his choice, reminding him that he had said he would apply to the Academic Institute with her. She pointed out that Martial University sent students to the battlefield, and asked if he realized how dangerous that was. She also wanted to comment on Subai's grades, but suddenly, the protagonist stated that someone had to go to the front lines. Looking directly at her, he said he would go to the front lines because he wanted to protect someone important to him. Yanran was shocked, wondering if the important person he mentioned was her. At that moment, an instructor approached Lin Yanran, asking which program she intended to apply for. Subai believed Yanran hadn't awakened her abilities, and, since she had never trained her body, thought she should apply to the institute. However, Yanran replied that she hadn't decided yet, and asked for more time to think it over. In front of the students, the teacher stated that this was an important decision for them. She told them to take their cards, go home, discuss it with their parents, and submit their applications the next day. With that, the teacher dismissed the class and sent everyone home. At home, Lin Yanran removed her clothes to take a bath. The tub was filled with fragrant petals while a maid poured hot water into it. Yanran called Subai and, while speaking with him, announced that she had decided to apply to Martial University and wanted to surprise him. At that moment, Subai was cleaning up Xiao Ba's mess. He asked if Yanran was joking about applying to the university, but she replied that she had already made up her mind. During the protagonist's brief distraction, the ever-hungry Xiao Ba leaped into a bag of food with eyes full of rage. Subai marched toward the turtle, telling Yanran he needed to take care of something important. Hanging up the phone, Subai began scolding the ravenous turtle so loudly that everyone in the neighborhood could hear his shouts about the troublemaker. The next day, a person stood on a podium at school, addressing the students. "Students, let us warmly welcome Instructor Jen Kai from Martial University. He has traveled a long distance to speak with you." Instructor Jen Kai stepped onto the stage, waving to the crowd. The teacher explained that this man was her senior and a martial artist who had graduated at the top of his high school class. Taking the teacher's place, Jen Kai grabbed the microphone and began to speak. 1 year ago, 126 students from number 1 school were admitted to Martial University. Only 65 of them are still alive. 2 years ago, 98 were accepted, but only 32 remain. 3 years ago, 86 students were admitted, and now just 11 are still alive. He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "Students, I'm not telling you this to scare you, but to make you understand. Being admitted to Martial University is not something to boast about. What lies ahead are tasks, responsibilities, dangers, and the duty to protect the country. Martial University is a place that nurtures the strong. Do you want to become stronger?" Jen Kai's speech electrified the students. Becoming a powerful individual had always been a dream for many in this chaotic world. Seeing their excitement, Jen Kai praised them and expressed his eagerness to see their performance in the exam. After his speech, Jen Kai and the teacher suddenly approached Subai. Curious, Subai wondered if he had done something wrong. Genkai asked for confirmation that he was Subai, and informed him that he had been selected for direct admission to Marshall University. He could go immediately to prepare for the entrance test. Subai was stunned. The students around him were equally shocked. Genkai confirmed it again, explaining that a bus was already waiting for him at the school gate. Many couldn't believe Subai had been chosen. Others speculated that he must have connections. Frustration and envy filled the air. The bus took Subai and the other students to Marshall University. Upon stepping off, they were struck by the sheer size of the place. The group marveled at the university's facilities, even just at the entrance. A woman in charge of guiding them led the group on a tour. As they passed a massive stone monument, the students were impressed. The woman explained that it bore the university's motto. Gazing at it, Subai felt a sense of immense power emanating from it. "Follow me," the woman said. "I'll take you to collect your training uniforms." Then to the dormitory. After some time, the guide showed them the male dormitory, explaining that they could rest in their assigned rooms and change into their uniforms. Someone would later announce the start time for the entrance exam. Upon arriving at his designated room, Subai heard voices from inside. A guy was bragging to the others about how his father had acquired the blood of an extremely rare beast. The others were impressed by the blood's color, and one commented that he had received powdered chi blood, though he admitted it wasn't as rare. Subai opened the door and introduced himself. The guy showing off the potion introduced himself as Han Jiagang, while the other two were Tao Jiajun, who wore his hair in a bun, and Fan Chaowen, who had a shaved head. Tao Jiajun smiled. "Subai, no need to be formal. From now on, we're dorm mates and teammates." He then invited Subai to join them in admiring the rare beast blood Han Jiagang's father had obtained. Han Jiagang proudly showed the vial. "My father contacted people across the country to secure one of only 3 identical vials." Hearing this, Subai wondered if this was the same blood he had sold. One of the roommates asked if it had been expensive. "Each vial cost around 30,000 yuan, Han Jiagang boasted. All 3 totaled just under 100,000. Subai was furious. The old man had only paid him 15,000 yet resold it for far more. Suddenly, Han Jiagang urged them to look out the window, pointing at a stunningly beautiful girl walking toward the dormitory. "She's definitely this year's most beautiful girl." The girl was stopped by a dorm monitor. "Who are you looking for in the male dormitory?" At the window, Subai's 3 roommates were struck by her beauty, agreeing she had to be the campus queen. Fan Chaowen wondered who she was looking for. Amidst the admiring gazes, the young woman, Lin Yanran, spoke. "I'm looking for Subai." The dorm monitor glanced toward the building and shouted, "Subai! Come down. A beautiful girl is asking for you." The 3 roommates turned incredulous eyes toward Subai, but he was already heading downstairs calling, "I'll go first." Han Jiagang pulled a face. "Is she really here for Subai?" Tao Jiajun was in disbelief, while Fan Chaowen praised Subai. What an achievement. When Subai met Yanran, she smiled. "You look strong in your training uniform." He waved awkwardly. "Really?" She stepped closer, adjusting his collar, making him blush. Even more handsome now. Students watching from the windows seethed with jealousy. Many cursed Subai for daring to have the campus beauty fix his clothes. Yanran then brought up an important topic. "Are you upset about the direct mission?" Subai shook his head. "No, but I plan to take the entrance exam on my own." He ruffled her hair gently. "Thank you. I know you were trying to help. Don't thank me," she replied. "I was just worried." Excitedly, Yanran handed him a bag. "The test is in 2 days. These elixirs will help." Subai felt embarrassed. "You've already done enough. Keep them for yourself." But Yanran didn't give him a chance to refuse. With a quick goodbye, she left. As she walked away, every young man in the male dormitory burned with hatred for Subai. They vowed to investigate him and punish him for daring to touch their goddess. When Subai returned to the room, his 3 roommates bombarded him with questions about Yanran. They made him sit in a chair, acting friendly as they tried to learn more about the girl. They wanted to know what kind of relationship Subai had with her, but he claimed they were just classmates. Han Jiagang got straight to the point, asking if Subai could introduce them to some of her friends since they knew each other. The protagonist thought about it for a moment, but Han Jiagang quickly changed the topic, suggesting that since they had just met, they should go out for dinner that evening to eat and chat. The 3 then left Subai alone in the room to rest while they prepared for the dinner arrangements. Left alone, the protagonist took Xiao Ba out of his backpack. He found his 3 roommates quite interesting. Since he was alone, he also decided to check what kind of elixir Yanran had given him. With Xiao Ba perched on his shoulder to get some fresh air, He took out the first vial. Qi blood potion. Xiao Ba's eyes sparkled at the sight of the vial, and Subai quickly noticed. The protagonist looked at the turtle with a mischievous smile, and asked if she knew what to do after consuming Qi blood powder. That night, the group was impressed to be heading to an expensive restaurant. Han Jigang was especially keen on treating Subai well, offering that he eat and drink as much as he wanted, leaving the bill for him to pay. As they were about to sit at the table, Han Jiagang raised his glass, stating that having brothers like them, especially someone as capable as Subai, made him feel lucky. The protagonist waved his hands, asking everyone to sit down as there was no need for formality if they were dormitory brothers. Once settled, Subai explained that he studied at the same school as Yanran, so asking her to introduce some friends wouldn't be an issue. They could discuss that later. Seizing the opportunity, he asked Han Jiagang for help with something. Hearing that Subai was going to introduce some girls, Han Jiagang immediately offered his assistance. The protagonist said it wasn't a big deal, placing a vial on the table. He explained that he needed Han Jiagang's help in selling it. Han Jiagang took the blood vial for closer inspection, and the others noticed that the blood was of even higher quality than what Han Jiagang had bragged about earlier. Carefully examining it, Han Jiagang remarked that he had never seen blood of such high quality before. Han Jiagang quickly grabbed his phone, saying that the blood of this beast seemed so rare that he was hesitant to estimate the price himself. Therefore, he would call his father to have him assess it. Subai didn't mind, leaning back in his chair as Han Jiagang made the call while they continued eating. When Han Jiagang's father answered the phone, he began yelling at his son, complaining that he was spending money again. He had sent him to university to become a martial artist, not to waste time partying. Han Jiagang tried to calm his father, explaining that he wasn't calling for money but to handle serious business. While smoking a cigar, Han Jiagang's father listened as his son told him about a classmate with 7 units of rare beast blood he wanted to sell, blood of even higher quality than the 3 he had acquired, making it impossible to estimate the price. The father was incredulous, asking if his son was sure. Han Jiagang swore, asserting that if he didn't believe him, he could come see for himself. The father demanded the address, saying he would be sending a man named Master Chow immediately. An hour later, Master Chow arrived at the restaurant. Upon seeing the beast blood, he was impressed. Top tier. Simply top tier. The energy within is more refined than any rare beast blood I've seen before. With these 7 units, I could easily create a superior level body refining pill. Han Jiagang's father asked incredulously if Master Chow wasn't overestimating the blood. However, Master Chow affirmed that there was no mistake. Even if tested with better instruments, the value of this essence could potentially be even higher than he was estimating. Turning to Subai, who was still drinking, Han Jiagang showed how impressed he was, stating that he hadn't expected Subai's beast blood to be so incredible. Master Chow approached Subai, who had stood up, and asked how much he planned to sell the beast blood for. The protagonist then revealed his thoughts. "Tio Master Chow, my friend told me that this rare beast blood couldn't be sold for money. It could only be exchanged for Qi powder of equal value." Hearing Subai's request, Han Jiagang's father thought for a moment. He then stated that since the young man and his son were classmates, he wouldn't try to deceive him. He said he would take the 7 vials of blood and, in return, give 14 vials of Qi powder. The protagonist accepted the offer. However, Han Jiagang's father had another proposal. He asked Subai if he would like to join the Han family, as they could provide all the cultivation resources he might need in the future. Subai thanked him for the offer, but said that, for now, he wasn't interested in joining a family. Han Jiagang's father urged Subai to reconsider. Suddenly, a loud female voice resonated through the room. Subai said that he doesn't want to join the Han family. Everyone turned to the door to see who had entered, and they realized it was Yanran. The girl entered the dining room with an angry expression, asserting that no one there could force Subai to join any family. Seeing no response, Yanran firmly asked if they had heard her clearly. Subai was surprised, asking his friend what she was doing there. Han Jiagang scratched his head, equally surprised, asking why the goddess Yanran had suddenly appeared. Yanran stated that she had been walking around and just happened to run into them. Han Jiagang's father questioned where that girl had come from. Master Chow leaned in to whisper in his ear, "Master, this girl is..." Hearing Master Chow's barely audible whisper, Han Jiagang's father's eyes widened in disbelief. He was shocked to discover the identity of the young woman who had appeared. Han Jiagang's father pushed the boys aside, telling Yanran that it was just a misunderstanding. After all, Subai and his son were classmates and good brothers. Yanran ignored him and walked up to the protagonist, asking if he was already returning to school since they could go together. The protagonist agreed, having finished his business. As Yanran pulled him away, he bid farewell to Han Jigong's father and told his roommates he would see them back at the dormitory. Han Jigong wanted to ask Subai to wait for him, as he was also returning to the dormitory, but his father interrupted, pulling him close. He looked at his son seriously, telling him to get along with Subai. The family's future could depend on it. He also advised him to stay away from the girl named Yanran and to be diplomatic with her. Following his father's advice, Han Jiagong asked, "Brother Su and Goddess Yanran, are they truly that incredible?" 2 days later, the university's martial arts campus training field was completely packed. Zhang Hai was giving instructions. "In the coming days, you will participate in the rookie special training. This time, the location will be the Myriad Daraka battlefield." Hearing this, some people grew concerned, wondering if it would be dangerous. However, the instructor reassured them, stating that the training area had already been cleared and the institution would ensure their safety. Zhang Hai continued, "Every 50 people will form a class, each led by a bronze-level instructor, who will relay the training tasks. I wish all rookies a triumphant return." Yanran quickly ran up to Subai, informing him that they were in the same class. Coincidentally, the members of the protagonist's dormitory were also in the group, making him wonder if it had been intentional. At that moment, a red-haired woman approached their group. Her stature and cloak exuded authority as she introduced herself. "I am Liao Yuxin, the instructor for Special Class 8's training." Many students were enchanted by her presence. She informed them that all missions during the training would be assigned by her. Without hesitation, she surprised the group by giving the first task, write a will. Ignoring their shock and questions about why they needed to do so, she turned to leave, stating they had 1 day to complete it. The following day at 8 a.m., they were to gather at the teleportation center to depart for the Myriad Daraka battlefield. With the first mission given, some students wondered if their lives were at risk, while others worried about what to write. Standing beside the protagonist, Yanran asked if he had any plans. He replied that he hadn't prepared anything and would return to the dormitory. Yanran bid him farewell as many wondered what they should do next. Back at the dormitory, Subai's roommates invited him to join them for some fun before heading to the battlefield the next day. However, the protagonist declined, saying he needed to prepare and wouldn't be going. He told them to enjoy themselves. Seeing his refusal, Han Jigong said, "If you need anything, just call us." At that moment, Han Jigong noticed Xiao Ba, the turtle, and remarked, "She's got a hard shell." The protagonist introduced the gluttonous turtle to them, and soon, the group left to celebrate while Subai stayed behind to make his preparations. After they left, the protagonist took out some chi blood powder. Xiao Ba held her bowl with her front paws, begging for more. Subai reminded her that since she'd eaten so much, she'd better prove her worth on the battlefield. As he gave her more food, the turtle eagerly devoured it. Noticing her haste, he told her to slow down. No one would take her food. Suddenly, the protagonist received a notification. The tamed turtle has leveled up to normal upper tier, gaining a new talent, Heavy Strike. Xiao Ba felt the power surge within her. The new ability allowed her to consume stamina to increase her attack. She already had a similar skill that boosted her defense, along with another that raised it by 300%. The protagonist was thrilled. The chi blood powder had helped Xiao Ba evolve, and her stats had improved. He praised her, asking if she was ready to show her full potential on the battlefield. The next day arrived quickly. Students were divided into 3 groups in front of 3 large portals, ready to head to the battlefield. Some instructors stood near Zhang Hai, awaiting orders. He commanded them to begin teleporting through the first matrix. The protagonist's class was called forward. As they lined up, Han Jiagong asked Fan Chaowen, "Have you ever seen such a massive teleportation matrix outside Martial University?" Meanwhile, Yanran expressed her concern to the protagonist, urging him to be careful. He reassured her, saying they would complete the mission successfully. When the protagonist stepped onto the teleportation matrix, a glow enveloped his body. Instructor Liao Yuxin instructed, "Relax completely. The teleportation is being prepared." Closing his eyes, Subai complied. On the other side, the students were amazed. The military base of the battlefield, the vast platform they stood on, and the unfamiliar terrain and atmosphere were far more incredible than they had imagined. Instructor Yuxin moved ahead, telling everyone to stay quiet. She looked in one direction and addressed the commander's delegate, Liu Tao. "Please excuse the excitement of the new recruits. They've never seen anything like this before." Commander Delegate Liu Tao introduced himself sternly. "Call me Commander Delegate or Sir. Here, It doesn't matter if you're a student or an instructor. You follow my orders. Understood? After everyone absorbed the lesson, Liu Tao declared, "Today's your lucky day. The team has already finished the battle." Behind the group, Han Jigang whispered, "What's so special about Commander Liu Tao?" The protagonist replied, "That scar on his face suggests he's a seasoned officer." Liu Tao gave them their first mission, cleaning the battlefield by eliminating remaining shadow cats, monsters perfect for new recruits. He explained that defeating them would grant merit points, exchangeable for chi blood powder and elixirs of various refinement grades to boost their strength. Hearing this, the students grew excited. Han Jiagang muttered, "Now I see why people risk their lives for this job. Defeating monsters for potions." Commander Liu Tao appreciated their enthusiasm and ordered them to follow him immediately. The students eagerly complied. The protagonist was eager to accumulate merit points for potions, especially now that Xiao Ba could assist him. As they walked through the base, the commander showed them injured soldiers. Concern spread among the students. Had shadow cats caused these wounds? Some doubted it, as such monsters were supposed to be low level. Fear crept in, with a few even wanting to turn back. Hearing the murmurs, the class instructor silenced them. What did you expect in the Myriad Daraka battlefield? If you enrolled in Martial University, you should be prepared for danger at all times. Yanran approached the protagonist, urging him to stay by her side on the battlefield. "I don't want anything to happen to you," she said. Realizing the need for vigilance, he agreed, and asked her to be careful as well. From atop the large walls, a man shouted to the commander, "We've fulfilled the mission, guarding the northeast gate. 35 beasts were defeated, awaiting new orders." The commander thanked them and ordered the gates opened, so the recruits could see the Myriad Daraka battlefield. As the gates swung open, smoke billowed out. Instructor Yuxin reminded the students, "Having Commander Liu Tao personally lead you is a rare opportunity. Prove yourselves." At the front, the commander called out, "Did you leave your testament letters in the office? From now on, the Reaper walks with you every second." Upon arriving at the battlefield, the young students were met with a scene of war. The beasts charged furiously at the humans, who fought back using weapons. Amid the frantic battle, a man noticed the arrival of a few newcomers. He approached Commander Fu, asking why he was personally present. However, the commander cut him off and ordered him to prepare some soldiers to protect the newly arrived students. Liao Yuxin picked up a tablet, stating that they would head to Area F-260, a path in the forest where most of the monsters had already been defeated. There, the students would collect the monsters' cores. Leading the group of students, the man who had joined the instructor asked if they were ready, receiving a unanimous shout of confirmation. With that, he showed the young students the way and sent a team to accompany them. After giving instructions to the students, the man reassured instructor Liao Yuxin that it wouldn't be dangerous for them. However, he couldn't help but wonder why the commander was personally leading the student team. But Commander Liu Tao did not provide an answer. He simply continued on his way alongside instructor Liao Yuxin, who thanked him for his support. To Commander Fu, however, this was simply his duty, to protect the new warriors on the battlefield. Meanwhile, in Daedu, the highest military command post, urgent problems were being reported. Inside a room, a man examined some information on a large board, while being informed that a massive horde of monsters had breached the battlefield defenses of all races, and was attacking several other military zones to the southwest between D-128 and D-140. Upon seeing the reports, the man ordered the informant to confirm the direction in which the monsters were moving, and spread the news so that other outposts could prepare for an attack. The new students are entering the battlefield for training, and they must be protected. They have a long future ahead of them, he said. Meanwhile, in Area F-269, Liao Yuxin and the group of students arrived to clear the battlefield. She explained that the essence of the battlefield was that with every minute they spent there, they were getting closer to danger. The protagonist, along with Yanran, began cleaning up the corpses. The girl explained that the hides, blood, flesh, claws, and teeth of nether cats could be used to craft weapons and medicines. The protagonist confirmed this, remarking that this was likely why so many people sought out this dangerous place. Such materials were rare. He then opened his inventory, planning to collect more cores and exchange them for blood spirit essence so that his turtle could evolve once again. Suddenly, an extreme danger notification appeared for the protagonist. More than 160 nether cats were rapidly approaching with great hostility. The protagonist immediately went on high alert. The last time he had received such a warning was against martial artists. But now he was facing a 5-star, life-threatening danger. Seeing Subai's reaction, Yanran grew worried. To the surprise of some, The protagonist ran toward Instructor Liao to warn her about the problem, stating that he could sense a massive horde of monsters approaching them. The instructor, who was observing from atop a tree in the distance, remained silent. A thick mist covered the forest, making visibility difficult. She climbed down from the tree and told Subai, "This is a battlefield, not a playground. Do you understand what will happen if you cause mass panic?" The protagonist tried to warn her again, insisting that he wasn't joking, and that a monster horde was truly approaching. Commander Fu stepped forward and asked Subai if he was certain, as he could personally guarantee that there were no monsters within a 2-kilometer radius. Seeing the commander, the protagonist reaffirmed that he wasn't joking, and warned that there were over 100 nethercats just 3 kilometers away. Hearing the young man claim that his senses were sharper than his own, Commander Fu dismissed his words. Instructor Liao sided with the commander, saying that Subai was overreacting since this was his first time on the battlefield, and that they shouldn't waste time on this. Yanran stepped in, concerned. "No one should judge without first verifying the truth," she said. "I trust Subai." The protagonist took the lead, drawing everyone's attention. "Everyone, please believe me. The monsters are approaching. I can tame monsters, which gives me a heightened sense of danger." Instructor Liao was surprised to hear about the protagonist's ability, and questioned why the school hadn't informed them about it. The crowd was shocked to learn about Subai's talent. He explained that his admission to Wuda was guaranteed, which was why his abilities were not officially registered. However, someone questioned why there were no tamed monsters by Subai's side if he was truly a beast tamer. Suddenly, in the middle of the discussion, a person ran toward them in a panic, shouting that the nethercats were coming. Hearing this, Instructor Liao was in disbelief. With the news of the approaching monsters, orders were quickly given for the students and warriors to form a defensive formation. Messengers were dispatched to contact the base and request reinforcements. However, at that very moment, a report from the base arrived. All the surrounding camps were under attack, and no reinforcements could be sent. Instructor Liao grew anxious and asked the commander if there were truly over 100 monsters. "Without reinforcements, the group of students won't stand a chance in battle," she said. The commander's expression turned serious, as he confirmed that Subai's senses had been accurate. He could now feel the monster horde rapidly approaching. The commander pointed at Subai and Yanran, ordering 4 soldiers to be sent to protect them. Hearing this, the protagonist stated that he could fight alone. As commands were being issued, one of the nethercats at the early bronze stage appeared. Its greenish body crackled with lightning energy as it growled at the humans. After the first monster appeared, many others followed, charging at the humans. Under Commander Fu's orders, the soldiers opened fire to retaliate. However, the nethercats were too strong. They attempted to disrupt the human defenses with their large bodies. These cats were so powerful that they seemed more like monsters than ordinary felines. The commander ordered everyone to maintain the defensive formation while the instructor tried to boost morale, assuring them that if they could withstand the initial assault, they would be able to handle the cats. The cats leaped over the soldiers, heading straight for the students. Seeing this, the commander shouted, asking the students if they remembered the oath they had taken. With Yanran and Subai at the front, all the students shouted in unison, "With the honor burning in my chest, my country will never fall." The students prepared to defend themselves, but before the cats could reach them, a powerful attack struck, defeating the attacking monsters. A duo arrived on the battlefield, one wielding a bow, Jang Mani, a warrior at the early bronze stage, and the other holding a heavy sword, Luo Yongchang, also a warrior at the early bronze stage. They had come to deal with the nethercats, reassuring the students. Instructor Liao was relieved to see the goddess archer and the mighty warrior arrive. The protagonist was impressed by the duo's strength, feeling frustrated that his only weapon was his small turtle. The students were thrilled to see the goddess Mani and the powerful Luo, momentarily distracted from the battlefield. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed through the forest. Luo Yongchang quickly shouted for everyone to cover their ears. The nethercats began bowing as a cat several times larger than them walked into the clearing. The sudden appearance of the king of the nethercats, a silver stage monster, sent waves of panic through everyone. Commander Fu couldn't believe that such a powerful monster had appeared there. He immediately ordered contact with the base to request reinforcements. Ignoring the monster's rank, the newly arrived duo launched an attack. Seeing them charge forward, Instructor Liao panicked and ordered them to retreat. However, before the duo could fall back, the king cat struck with its translucent green claws, defeating them instantly. Commander Fu and the other warriors launched ranged attacks at the monster, but it was too late to provide cover for the duo who had attacked first. The king cat lunged at them, baring its massive claws and fangs as it leaped toward the humans.